Something to Offer, the show that goes to the heart of people living their dreams. And we'll meet them in just a moment. I just love people, period, whether they're people I interview or not, but that people really have such a contribution to each other.
I guess it happened when I was in college. I was a science major, and I got to direct some review in a competition, and I realized I was very happy.
I'm not interested in what everybody already knows about them. I'm interested to bring people what they don't know about them.
In the 5th grade, I wrote a play, a World War I play. And I used to tell movies to my friends, even movies they had seen. In fact, we'd come from the movie theater and sit down on a stairway in an apartment building, and I'd tell them the story over again.
I can thank General Hospital for having a dream come true as far as horses go, because as a kid, I lived, breathed, slept, ate horses.
I like landing the people. I like the research, exploring everything. I like the phone conversations before they come on. I like the surprise that some people get when I just call them up and say, I'd really like to interview, I've heard what you do.
My father died at age 87, so he actually lived to see me become both a congressman and mayor.
When you begin to read about the people, or you see them somewhere else and you hear them speak, there's so much more to them. And I like to bring some of the more that's them to the story so that people really see.
I used to act out stories with my dog.
Oh, yeah?
My beagle. And this is one of the silliest ones. I've only told one other person this.
Okay.
We used to put on my mother's high heels.
You and the beagle?
Well, the beagle wouldn't wear the high heels, but I would use them as cowboy boots.
For them, the person that somebody doesn't know as much, or the famous person, if you look at the contributions they've made in their environments, they're just probably the same, if not equal.
And that sort of began the acting, and it was all, I never took any of it seriously.
I come from my heart, and I come from the depths of my life, and I come from, I think, where I was born. I come from my family. My parents always were about their neighborhood, their friends, entertaining, being engaged with other people. So naturally, I guess that's what comes. It's the engagement of myself with other people.
Thank you so much for letting me be here today with you, Mr. Hampton.
Well, I want to thank you for coming, and such a wonderful person as you, and I'm getting a very big kick out of this.
The kind of television I like to do would encourage people to come away with an energy to go after something.
I had no intention of ever being a puppeteer. I wanted to be a journalist, and I went to school for about a year, and then Jim asked me to come join him here in New York for about 6 months part-time. I tried to continue my studies at CCNY for about a semester, but it was just too much fun, and I've just been with him ever since, with the company ever since.
I majored in something called semiotics, and in a way, you know, that course of study has a lot to do with what I do now, which is like making articles of culture that kind of get out there into society.
I've been basically a lyric writer, but I have been able to collaborate with a lot of good people, and I've met a lot of great people in music, and I love that part of my life. It's a little bit different from baseball, but it's fun.
Good television to me is television that informs, entertains, inspires, and educates.
With all of us, our guest tonight, Anne-Marie Offer.
Hello, everybody. So we kind of turned the tables a little bit. I'm with Freddie, my engineer tonight. And you know, this month, it's August 2015. I'm hoping the show goes on then, but it may go on in September, I don't know. But this is 25 years from the day I did my very first show. And I just thought, you know, I think everybody should do something they want to do once in their life. I wasn't somebody who wanted to necessarily bungee jump, you know, off a bridge or something like that. But I thought it'd be fun to try to do a talk show at least once. And then, you know, here I am 25 years later having a regular talk show. And as you can see, that was a demo that a very dear friend of mine who works in television a lot had put together for me and worked with me on it. And it kind of highlights some of the guests I've had on my show, and they were, you know, this is probably 10 years old, so there's so many more guests that over the last few years. And media is currently changing, so I've had opportunity to review things and look at things. And, you know, it's amazing if you have an idea, and that's what this show's about, that people have an idea and they go after it. So here we are 25 years later, and we're just doing something different. I don't usually sit here and by myself, but as media is changing, I also decided I was away recently, and I took my little mobile device, and I took some little short interviews with people I saw on my journeys, family members and friends who definitely have something to offer, and we're going to share a few of those with you, and maybe a few other surprises along the way. So I was in Michigan, and I was near my brother's. I'm really originally from Detroit, but I was in a suburb of Royal Oak and was with one of my dear friends from elementary school and high school, and it's Doris Vansen, and here's a clip I did with her.
All right, this is my friend Doris. Hey, Doris, and I'm in Royal Oak, Michigan, visiting all my family and friends, and I just want to share one of my dear friends who definitely has something to offer. She's had something to offer her whole life. I went to grade school and high school with her. And Doris lives in Royal Oak, and she is a realtor, and she owns property. So, Doris, I wanted to just ask quickly, how did you figure out what your dream for a career was, or that choice, and what have been the joys of it, and what have been the challenges of it?
Well, I've always loved homes. Architecturally, I like all this. I love Art Deco and different styles of homes. And I think just matching up the right people with the right home. You know, it's very rewarding, but the challenging part is I get turned around real easy, north, south, east, west.
Oh, you're directionally challenged?
I'm directionally challenged, yes.
But
and now everyone knows I'm directionally challenged.
That's okay.
But with Garmin's and things of that nature, I've been able to overcome that. But it's been a very fulfilling, rewarding career.
And you've done it for how long?
28 years.
28 years.
28 years, yeah. It's been a good 28 years.
Great.
A lot of ups and downs and sideways. And the market's coming back, which is great.
Right, and I just want you to shout out Detroit and Michigan for everybody, because they're all worried about it, but she's kept it going, and everybody has since.
Oh, it's coming back gangbusters. Gangbusters. I had 4 transactions within the past 3 weeks. I mean, 3 days. 3 days.
So people are buying property here.
They're buying, they feel comfortable with it. The lenders are lending money, you know, against the homes, and it's very good. And there's equity.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you so much. And really quick, Doris, what would be, you know, what would you say to people who are going after a goal or a career and, you know, or wanting to make something happen when they're feeling roadblocked or challenged? Do you have anything advice you would give?
I call it eating the elephant one bite at a time. You know, you might want to look at the whole picture. Don't get overwhelmed by it. But you can only eat something, you can only go at it one step at a time, one little bite at a time, and don't give up. There's always hope, there's amazing things that happen, and there's all kinds of wish gifts out there.
Great. Thank you, Doris. I'm so happy you did that. Thank you.
Okay.
Yay.
So I'm back, and Doris left near the beginning because that water fountain was sprinkling water all over her, and I think it was kind of a shock. And I don't know if you noticed, there was a rainbow in that interview, which was really great. And she's very, you know, always keeps a positive spirit. She's had lots of challenges in her life, but she's always, you know, turning it around and making it different. So then, you know, I was in Michigan for a couple days, and then we were out at a lake house in Canada, and my niece, I got to interview. It's kind of a really extreme close-up, so apologize for that, but we kind of were in between buildings and worried about the wind off the water. And this is an amazing young woman who is very dear to my heart. She was a basketball player and broke all the Ivy League records when she was at Yale. She went on to become a sports information director at Purdue, and you'll hear about what she's doing with her life because she's really living in contribution to youth. So this is Kathleen Offer.
Hi, it's Anne-Marie. I'm at the cottage in Canada with some of my family, and this is my niece, Kathleen, who is a former basketball player for Yale. She coaches basketball and is the Dean of Admissions at Notre Dame School in Pontiac, Michigan. So Kathleen, I just wanted to ask, what's it like to be kind of fulfilling a dream and a goal and working with young people and in being in contribution, you know, through the work you do, because that's what you've chosen to do?
Great question. It gives me a lot of purpose, so I enjoy that aspect of it. Being able to work with the youth is really a treasure that I have, because in previous jobs I've had, I've felt that the work that I did was valued, but I didn't feel like I was making enough of an impact interpersonally. So I really treasure the time that I've been at Notre Dame. I've been there for 7 years, and looking forward to a continued great future there, and continuing to make an impact on the future with building tomorrow's leaders today, not only with the students who we bring in, with the classes that we bring in, but also as a basketball coach.
Great. And can I just ask you, who may have been some of the people that made a great impact on you from when you were a young person?
Well, a lot of coaches, but of course my family first and foremost. My parents, you know, obviously bringing me into the world, but then also shaping me and forming me, especially in our faith, and my brother and sister and all of my tremendous aunts and uncles. So spending time with them and you know, taking on their values and carrying those on, that they have been kind of the biggest, of course, foundation of my life. But I've also had a lot of other mentors, not only professionally, but coaches as well. So there are a lot of people it would take me a long time to thank.
Great. And one other quick question. What would you tell young people when they're, you know, in school and stuff and challenged and trying to make decisions about, you know, school or future or careers, when they feel like they're up against a wall? What would you say for them to focus on and think about?
Well, I think especially for young children, it's important that, it sounds cliche, but that they have to dream big. They have to believe that they can do things that maybe they think are impossible at the time. But the moment you limit yourself, that's kind of the bar that you set. When you accept less than the best, that's what you're going to get most of the time. So I just encourage people to shoot for the moon, and you know, if you reach the stars, they say. I know that I'm speaking a lot in cliches, so I just encourage people to strive for the very best, and whatever comes, but you'll always feel the reward of at least trying your best, even if you don't quite reach it. You know, it's very hard for any of us to attain perfection, but we all can shoot for it.
Great. Thank you so much. Yay!
You're welcome.
She's somebody that I admire very much, and I gain great inspiration from her, as do I from all my family. So once, I don't have any other pictures of that right now. We could have downloaded some, but I went on to San Francisco to see one of my other nieces who had a baby last year. And yep, I was just thinking I could show my other niece too, but it's up. So I'm going to first show you, I'm going to find a picture of this little baby I fell in love with. Right here, I'm going to have to show it off my, so can you close up on this, Freddie? I don't know how to do this, make this bigger. Oh, there's a way to make this bigger. Whoa, somebody showed me how to do this. Oh no, that's not the one I want to do. Let me slide over, this is a cuter one. Okay, can I put that right in the, can you see that little girl? She is named Isla. She's adorable. I'm going to show you her mom and dad. But that's what I went to San Francisco for. But I did actually get some more wonderful surprises. I got to, I'll find another picture. I got to meet up with some friends of mine that I hadn't seen. I'm going to show you her mom and dad and all three of them. Okay, I think this is a good one. Oh, this is good. Okay, let me make it bigger like they say. Okay, can you see them? That's my niece and her wonderful husband. That's Maureen and Alex and Isla. And I have pictures of me with her, but you see me now, so I'll try to find the one where she's smiling. But I got to meet up with a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in 33 years, that I had been at Elephant Macy's with, and we did some plays in Europe together. And this is just a little bit of San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, just so you knew where I was. I was walking with a dear friend, but unfortunately my pictures of that are kind of funny, so I don't think we'll show you those. And we will cut to my friend Robert Martin and his wife, Doreen. And he is a minister now, no longer an actor, but and his wife works in education. And I just was really thrilling to meet up with some of you I hadn't seen in so long, and just pick up and then meet his wife for the first time. And they're sharing what their mission is. And they live in Palo Alto, but they came down to San Francisco to see me. So we'll see that clip now too.
Okay, I'm in San Francisco, and these are two of my friends. Actually, Rob Martin is a reverend, and he and I were actors together a long time ago. And I'm meeting his lovely wife. I haven't seen him in 33 years. Rob has a parish up in Palo Alto, and his wife Doreen is an educator and a visual artist. And I love talking to people about how they live their dreams and goals. So how did you figure out your calling, both of you, and what's it like to be on a journey where you serve other people, because you both are always in service to others? So I just thought I'd like to ask that question.
So I went to seminary kicking and screaming. It was like the last thing I thought I was called to, and I swore that I would never go into parish ministry. I've worked for an agency, I'm doing social service stuff, and lo and behold, my entire career, ever since 1992, I have been serving in the parish. So I've served this church in Palo Alto now for, almost 12 years. And before that, served as a college chaplain in North Carolina, and before that, inner city church in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Great. And Doreen, how did you get into, education and serving?
Kind of an accident. When our kids were little, I helped at their daycare and childcare, and then I worked for Head Start, and we lived in North Carolina. And then when we moved out here, there was a family that had a special needs child, and they needed a one-on-one aid for them. And so that's how I got into that. And I really love it. I'm very fortunate to have a job that I enjoy, and I think I do pretty well at it.
It's great. And I have one other, or maybe two other questions, but what have been the greatest lessons in your careers, and maybe some of the challenges that you've had to, ride over, so to speak?
Listen. To listen to people and observe before I jump in and make a judgment.
And mine has been, probably the biggest lesson has been that in a vocation of service, that you always have to be sure that you leave a little time for yourself and for your family. And so that was not, took me a while to learn that, but in my old age, I've realized how important that is in a life of service.
Great. And one other thing, because we got a lot of wind here, but hopefully I won't have to edit it. But anyway, people going after goals or dreams, or when they're trying to focus up their life, what would you tell them is a thing to think about when they're maybe, betwixt and between, or caught, in a hard place? What would you tell them besides this wind overcoming us right now?
I'm not sure. I guess maybe you don't always want to fulfill your hopes and dreams, because then you don't have something to look forward to. Not all of mine are fulfilled, but actually to recognize when they are, maybe, and maybe be patient.
And I think for me, it's about probably leading a life that is, in fact, selfless, meaning living it for other people and trying to help other people, be supportive of others, to be with them in their greatest joys and in their lowest lows. And I can't think of anything, it doesn't pay a whole lot. It's not anything you're going to make an incredible amount of money at it. But my gosh, man, it's the most fulfilling, meaningful thing you can do with your life. Whatever form it takes, when you serve others, it's such a powerful thing.
Great.
So, thank you.
Thank you guys. Yay. Yay. All right.
That was great. And I think what Rob says is so true, and that's what I think Something to Offer is about, because everybody, when you do something that you believe in or want to do or feel passionate about, it does serve humanity, usually, almost always. I think I don't find hardly anybody who their work doesn't and makes a difference in their life. So I'm really happy that I got to connect up with them again. And I just want to show you this other picture of this beautiful little baby. I don't know if, how did I hold this before where it was better? Hang on, we lost it. Hang on, let me get back. Oh, there we go. Can you see her? That's that smile, I was like, when I had to say goodbye, I was I was like tearful because look at that smile on that baby. That's how she smiles all the time. She's so cute. And her parents are adorable too. And I was hoping to interview him. He's an endodontist, and my niece is in financial area, and they're really great at their jobs too. So enough on the phone, enough of bragging about one. I should show you my other little niece too, but we'll do another show about all my little baby grandnieces. So that was really fun, and that's just all off this phone. So excuse me for all that wind. I have to work on maybe a microphone in the future with, not omnidirectional, but directional. So that was really great, and I had intended to do more. And then when I came back, I love the city so much, and there's always something, there certainly is something to offer everywhere in the city. And like the day after I got back, I was out to dinner with some friends, and we dropped off this elderly friend of ours who was getting ready to move, and we heard these drums, and we were near Lincoln Center. So this was just like random drumming from a Brazilian drumming group. I think they had a concert, but they took it out on the plaza and they were walking on the street. So I just thought you might like to see something that our city has to offer. Never a dull moment. So we are back, and I'm with my control man, Freddie here, who's just really great and always like willing to try new things. So Freddie, I want to ask you, like, what brought you to media and M&N? Why don't you just tell us how you got here?
Oh my God. Well, it's a pleasure to be in this 25 years program for Something to Offer. And I have been in media for 15 years. I started back in Colombia. I'm from Colombia. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of an accident because I was studying mechanical engineer at college, and I was bad, really bad with all the physics and all the formulas and all that thing. And one friend of mine, like, he was starting a production because he works for this comedian, Jose Ordóñez. He's a very famous comedian in Colombia. And he was like, okay, we need an assistant producer and we need an assistant director. And Jose is willing to put you in that position and teach you if you want to work with us. And I was like, let's do it. So I dropped off college without telling my parents. I started working with this guy. My mom looked at me going out every day, so she was like, oh, he's going to college. And no, I wasn't. I wasn't going to work. And that was kind of how I started. We did 6 months of that show. That was a series. Mm-hmm. And after that, well, I got into the whole world. After many years, I did my BA. And well, 2 years ago, I came to New York, and here we are at Manhattan Neighborhood Network, knowing fabulous producers as you, Anne-Marie.
Well, thank you very much. And you're always so helpful, and I'm learning these new technical things, and I'm always scared, and Freddie's like, no, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. So I'm learning editing, a new editing system. Not my favorite thing in the world to do, but it certainly looks great when you know how to do it. So anyway, I guess I'm going to share a little bit of things you may not know about where my starting in talk shows has led me. We only have 3 minutes? Okay, so we don't have to do too much. I did make a documentary film about 2 nuns, and we'll show you, I think, a little bit of that and go out on that. I've also made films. I sort of have this division of what I do called DocuLife, so I can help people document their stories, like of a relative or a business. But these 2 nuns, Sister John Mary Baker was my aunt, and Sister Stephanie Muller was a very good friend of hers. And we'll show as much of it as we can. These 2 women have in the past year really, between 214 and 215 passed away. But it's a wonderful film about living a life of commitment. Go ahead, Freddie, whatever you got. And we'll see you next week. I'm very proud of their story. They lived as something to offer. Who is a member of the Sister Servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. She is one among many women who have spent their lives in relationship with God, accepted the call, and became nuns. Who tells their story or even thinks about them? This is a reflection of 2 nuns, Sister John Mary Baker and Sister Stephanie Muller, 2 women, 2 friends, in total service, having taken vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, committing themselves to live a life in contribution to humanity. 2 sisters looking back on the present, living in the now, and realistically aware of their future. We all are given an opportunity to commit and serve in this life. How would it look for you? Ever wonder what it's like? How does it appear now? Here's their story. Sister Servant, a call to commitment.
Well, I seem to view commitment as a promise that one cannot break if you're committed.
I was just thinking, commitment is a dedication. It's a promise to do something come hell or high water.
And we have proved it many times.
Well, we're back to me. 1 minute goes fast, but it's a wonderful documentary. If you ever want to see it, please go to my website. You can figure out how to see it. And those women really lived a life. They offered themselves to young people as educators and to their faith. So I'm just so happy to be here. I want to thank Freddie for coming up with this creative idea with me in the spur of the moment. And thank you for being with me for 25 years, or if you're just a new one, keep coming back. And you have something to offer, and let us know what you have, and maybe you can come and be on the show. See you next week. Bye. Thank you, Freddie.